Tonight, I would like to share with you guys here exactly what are the things that you can learn, what are the things that you can take away from here. Hopefully, you have a better understanding. Today is the Dumpling Festival, so I just want to wish everybody enjoy your festive, especially, of course, today is a weekdays. I just want to thank you guys, instead of spending more time with your loved ones, but you are here to spend time with me. So I hope that all of you will take, while you're having your batang or whatever, right? So at least take your tea or whatever so that you can still enjoy what I'm going to talk about later on in a short while. So thank you so much. Let's continue without much further ado. So, of course, just a disclaimer for myself. Anything that I share with you here, of course, certain risk is involved. As long as you have done your due diligence and find your financial planning, everything should be fine in the sense. If you're not sure, feel free to speak to any of our Promnex agents out there. Probably they can advise you in a much more better reasons, right? So, of course, next. I think one of the key things that I want to touch on here is actually about the interest rate, because I think we all expect that this Federal Reserve will be actually stop their interest rate one day before that, but it announced again on the actual day here is that, right, there will be two small hike by the end of 2023. So what will happen to the real estate market? In fact, I'm not so sure how many knows about this or not. In fact, if you were to know that our so-called fixed rate in terms of the loans, right, actually do what? No, actually has dropped from 4.25 early of this year, right, has actually dropped to 3.38. Without haven't increased the interest rate by Federal Reserve, but how come our Singapore market actually dropped the interest rate? Anybody knows about this or not? Anybody can tell me why or not? Of course, unfortunately, I cannot speak to every one of you. How I wish I can see every one of you live. That would be even much more better. At least I can ask some question. You guys can actually reply me. All right. So of course, I think many people may not be able to answer. I can only ask very simple question. But later on, right, if I were to ask any question, hopefully all of you can help me to reply so that we can all learn together, right? So of course, why is it that the Singapore banks are actually lowering down the interest rate? For me, that's my opinion. I just want to say something here, right? If you ask me, why are they actually lowering down their fixed deposit? Very simple. They want to get market share. Definitely, this is one of the reasons, because we all expect that the interest rate will most likely be low, coming down next year. So when they come down next year, right, if they don't capture you for the fixed rate, right, then they will lose out, because why? Their margin will also be lower when it comes to their return as a bank, right? So the only way to do so is to quickly lock you down with a lower interest rate. Hopefully, then you lock in maybe for the next 2 years or 3 years. So of course, if you really want to buy a property and you want to take a loan, I really think that you should be looking at something that is not so-called fixed for so many years. If not, then you will be hold on to a higher interest rate for that long. Why I can share with you here is because I myself 2 years ago, right, before this interest rate goes up, right, my own property, my interest rate overall add up together, right, is only 0.5%, right? 0.5%. So if you ask me, did I change to any fix? Of course, unfortunately, I did not change to a fix. But at least I would say that, right, when the market come down, I'm still under the so-called SORA package, which I think personally is much more better for me. So this is how I feel it, right? So of course, very simple to know one thing. Even your fixed deposit that you put money into the bank, right, they are also dropping their rates as well. So we can all see one thing that's happening. Despite what the Federal Reserve is going to do, eventually the interest rate must drop. And definitely interest rate eventually must drop. Why? Because the interest rate cannot stay high forever, because a lot of economy will be also affected because of this. But the most important thing is not so much about all this interest rate. The most important you need to know about this interest rate, right? The most important part is how does it affect the real estate market? And that is the key that you guys must probably know. I'm not so sure how many of you here knows this thing. Anybody can share with me here? In the last 20 years, interest rate increased by how many times? Anybody can type inside the chat group. How many times do you think that the interest rate has increased for the last 20 years? Can you type inside the chat group? Anybody knows? 4. Not sure. Many times. Wow. Many times, right? Well, a lot of people may know, may not know, some will know here and there. Maybe I would like to share with everybody here. In fact, in the last 20 years, why I can tell you last 20 years, because I'm in the business for the last 20 years. So every year I'm actually focusing in terms of all these things here. So if you ask me, interest rate in the last 20 years actually increases how many times? 4 times. Which is the year? Which is the year? 2007, 2013, 2019, 2023, which is currently the interest rate. So if you ask me, the rest of the year, what happened? Actually, in fact, in the last 16 years, right? The balance 16 years, actually interest rate was actually very low. Can you imagine for 2 years, I've been paying 0.5% for my properties? So you can understand, right? So to me, right, on average, if you look at 20 years, and every time the interest rate increase one time, actually it only lasts for about a year or so, it starts to drop already. Some even slower, some even faster, sorry. So why is it so? Same thing, we all expected this to come next year. That's how I feel, and most of the analysts has been feeling that. That's why we all expected that this federal will actually stop the so-called interest rate from moving up. But unfortunately, the core inflation over at US side is still very stubborn from coming down. They want it to come down to about 2%, but now it's about 4%. So, now it's about 5.3%. So that's the reason why they are still trying their best to come lower down the inflation so that to make the life more easier in the sense that this is what happened. But how does it correlated to our real estate in Singapore? That is something that you must know. So if you look at this, this is a chart that correlation with what? Correlationship in terms of the interest rate, which is the bottom part, and correlationship with what? The property price index. The property price per square foot, sorry, not index, price per square foot. If you look at this interest rate that is low, what happened? When the interest rate is low, there is always something called, the people say, Kelvin, put money in the bank, right? Is it a waste of time? Because they say that the interest rate was so low. So they always like to put money into where? They want to put into the real estate to hedge against what? Anybody can tell me inside the to hedge against what? Anybody can share with me here. Why would they want to? Every time when interest rate low, right? Oh, thank you so much. Those people, thanks a lot for helping me to. They want to hedge against inflation. Wow, very good. Thank you so much, everybody, for helping me to reply all this message here. You know why I want you to reply? No, if not, you will not be awake. So that's the whole idea why we want you to communicate with me as well. If not, it's so boring talking to a screen and nobody is talking to me, right? That is how uncomfortable it is. I used to be talking so much in terms of the people and audience, right? But today I'm only talking to a screen. So I hope that you guys can also help me in that sense. But most important, it creates a what? A demand. In fact, property prices up and down all dependence of what? Supply, demand. When there's a strong demand, when there's not enough supply, what will happen? You see, that's how the prices has gone up. From 774 per square foot to went up to 1,004 plus per square foot. Of course, with a few rounds of cooling measure, it start to fall a little bit. But most important, you look at this point. This is 2019. 2019, interest rate was high at 3.2%. For those who can recall. In fact, 2018, July, there is a so-called cooling measure in place. With a cooling measure in place, plus higher interest rate, what will happen? In fact, actually, it's very similar to current situation, Current situation is full of cooling measure, plus also interest rate problem, right? If you look at these 2 points here, most people will say, Kelvin, better don't buy property. Because why? Interest rate is high, cooling measure, the best time is to wait for the market to come down before I take action. But look at those people who choose to take action. What happened? They bought the property at what price? They bought the property at 1652 per square foot. And today, because you see, when the interest rate fall, what happened? It again create what? Demand. So when it create demand, what happened? Market start to move to 2001. So actually, why do I want to share with you here? The most important thing that you need to know here is what happened when interest rate fall. But most people will always be fear of buying a property when interest rate is high, which is normal. Why? Because we worried about the installment, we worried about mortgages, we worried about so many different things. And that's the reason why there is always a a fear element inside. When there's a fear element, it will stop you from moving. But very interesting, when the market is so good, nobody will be bothered about interest rate. When the market is so good and high that time, right? Well, everybody chiong, I want to buy property. Why? Because everybody is excited. But at this point of time, people will always be more careful. But do you realize one thing? For those people who choose to take action when the interest rate was high, right, at 1652, today they are able to sell at what price? 2001 per square foot. Can you imagine you are one of the owner who bought in 2019? Today you are actually having a good what? A very good return. Just imagine the differences is only $500 per square foot, you know. $500 per square foot, if you multiply by 1,000 square feet unit, your profit margin is $500,000 in which how many years? 4 years. 2019 to 2023. Of course, there'll be some are lower, some are higher, definitely. But in general, what I'm trying to tell you guys here, right? Actually, a lot of people fear to buy. But if you really understand how people buy and make money, right? Not only real estate, stock market, everything is like that. When everyone is fearful, you must react to this. Of course, I'm not saying that you still must learn how to look at prices, look at how to see property prices here and there. But why am I sharing this? Because why? This is something that is very important for you, because to me here, that there is a window of opportunity for ourselves to look at assets. That's the reason why today, one of my topic here is to cover, to let you understand as a seller yourself, is it worthwhile for me to move forward? Is it worthwhile for me to upgrade? And this is something that you need to know as well. So this is what I'm going to cover. So interest rate next year, when it start to fall, what will happen next? You decide. As you can see here, the fixed rate, just now I mentioned to you, right? From 4.25 today, it has dropped to how much? It has dropped to 3.38. So can you imagine down the road next year, what will happen next? It is going to be what you expect that the market would, the interest rate will fall. So when interest rate fall, then of course the next thing will happen. Everybody say demand will comes in, and eventually what happen? People say put money in the bank is called what? Waste time. That's the reason why I can tell you, right? Every time the rich will always make more because they put money in the fixed D, right? Will actually make some money again already, right? So this is how it works. So, but the question is, a lot of people say, Kelvin, why do I need to exit? Do you know, every time I exit, I got to pay more. Why would they? Why people say pay more? They're paying more is for what purpose? Yeah, last time I buy $600 per square foot. Today I need to pay how much? $1,000 per square foot. Isn't it I'm paying more? So, of course, my question to them here is always what? Isn't it good to pay more than to pay less? Because if you pay less means your property never go up, you know, right? So of course, a lot of people will always have this kind of objection. What is the kind of objection? No, Kelvin, I buy so cheap last time. How can I buy back? Last time I buy $300 per square foot. Today is $1,500 per square foot. How am I going to buy back? I don't think it's worthwhile for me to buy back. I guess this is some of the reason as well. And too high risk to upgrade now, especially with the interest rate so high. Then my question to you here is, do you want to upgrade when everything seems to be very positive and rosy and end up you're paying more? And that's something that you need to think about it, right? Of course, a lot of people say children education nearby. I also understand, because as a father myself, right, we always want to make sure that our children are taken care. Actually, the mere fact here is that I can tell you, man, you don't need to do anything much. In fact, what you can do here is to change from your current condo to the next condo or the next unit. In fact, one of my client last time, right, where I did transaction for them, you guess what? Because the mother is so happy to stay in that condo, right? But because I told him to cash out the money to buy something else, right? What did he do? No, he actually sell the property on the 5th floor and shift to 6th floor only. And at that point of time, he sell already, he cash out the money. So is it possible? Still can be done. So a lot of things is still possible. It's just that how are you going to go about doing it, and why must you go about doing it? That is important, which I'm going to touch on in a short while. I'm also worried about installment. Of course, today market definitely, if you're talking about installment, right, definitely will be higher. But you also must understand that just now I mentioned to you, right, this current window is better for you to look at asset, not because I tell you to do so. It's because at least you know what you are paying worse at. Can you imagine, like myself, right? I paid 0.5% interest rate. Now I'm paying 4%. Who is actually more stressful? Me, right? But if today you are paying 3% and when 3%, now you actually see that the interest rate fall to 1% or 1% or 2%, right? Who is more happier? You are more happier. But at least you prep yourself to the worst scenario. When it comes down, will you feel happier? You'll feel happier. Like in comparison to us, it's actually the reverse, So I personally feel that this is even better for you because you know what is called the worst scenario. Of course, people say no time. Everybody like to say no time, right? But it's no time, then of course, as your age goes by, right? Then I guess it will affect you even more. Because I mean, I've been conducting seminars and also been conducting courses as well. A lot of time people say, Kelvin, I should have known you earlier. I should have known you better. I should have done this earlier in the last couple of years. Now my age is like that, right? Can I still do more? Actually, to be honest, you can be working so hard, touch your heart, you can be working so hard. Does it mean that you can actually earn more? Sometimes we ask ourselves, well, we work from Monday to Sunday, or sometimes you ask yourself, how much have you saved? As compared to some people who owns a property in 3-4 years, they make 200,000-300,000, right? Which is better? Think about it. Don't limit yourself, right? I think that's the most important. Passive income, which is more important, right? Next. So I want to ask you this question. If today any one of you who own maybe a 1,000 square feet HDB flat, you bought in the year of 2003 at 234,000. Let's say, for example, 10 years, how much do you think your price will be? Can you type inside a chat group or not, everybody? How much do you think that today the price will be for this 1,000? Make a guess. How much do you think this HDB will be costing you? 450, 500,000, 500, or 600,000, right? Thank you so much, everybody, for helping me to key in inside the chat group as well. So let's see the answer. 588,000 today. Wow. Wow. The property for HDB has gone up by so much. Fantastic. Let's see first. Next. For a private condo, for 2003, this person bought 602,000. Today, it worth how much? Make a guess. Can you type inside the chat group, please? How much will it cost? 1.2 million, 1.5 million, 1.5 million, 2 million? Well, let's see the number. 1.87 million. Very close, very close. Thank you so much for those people who reply. For those who buy private landed property, 550,000. Make a guess. Today worth how much? Worth how much? 4 million. Wow. 3 million. Wow. Well, the answer is 2.2 million. So I'm taking a 1,000 square feet. You will say, Kelvin, where got 1,000 square feet? You need landed house. Actually, there is some that is below 1,000, but very, very rare. But we are not taking the 800, 900 square feet unit to do a comparison. I'm using an average of all this landed transaction for the last 10 years. I just narrowed down into per square foot and narrowed down into 1,000 square feet. I come up with these numbers here. So all these numbers is actually done through URA research. So these are the figures that we can get. But what am I trying to tell everybody? What am I trying to tell everybody? Can you imagine every one of you here, today you are age 45 years old. And if you take a loan for here for the last 10 years, you have reached 55 years old. Or with this 55 years old, currently your asset is worth 588,000. Which one will you, I mean, at the end of the day, sorry, maybe I say you are maybe, let's say for example, you are 55 years old. Let's say now you are 65 years old. By the time you fully pay, because everyone will take a loan, right? And fully pay at the end of the day until age 65, right? By the time you retire at age 65, can I ask every one of you this question? Which one would you want to prefer to have a fully paid up property? Is it 588,000, 1.87 or 2.2 million? Which one do you prefer? Which one would you want to have? If today you are 65 years old, which one will you choose to have? 2.2 million? 1.87 million, 588,000. So of course, everybody definitely will choose this, right? This is very common sense. I shouldn't be asking this kind of question, right? But why do I want you to know this? The reason why I want you to know this here is because I want to ask every one of you here, if today, based on your age, I don't know how old you guys are, if you are keeping your current assets, how much do you think your asset will be when you reach 65? Based on the asset that is fully paid up, do you think it's enough for you? Do you think that amount of money can be retired? Just like any of our parents here, Our parents, my parents who bought a HDB flat, I remember I paid it for 111,000. Today it's worth 350,000. Is it very good? Yes, it has increased by 3 times, right? But what is so good? Based on their age of a 300 over thousand property, what can they do with this money? If they are still staying there, do they have to work hard? Do they have enough? That's my concern. But today, if you have a $2.2 million property, at least you downgrade to a 500,000 property, you still have at least 1.5 million. So which is better? Ask yourself this question. So you have to think a little bit more. What is your end goal in mind? Why do you want to see this? Right? Then that's for you to see. If you look at this, at that point of time, one of the question was asking me, why landed so cheap last time? Honest truth here is last time landed is actually very cheap, much cheaper because the per square foot is lower. If you look at, because last time people will, I mean for landed property, people generally people not so fancy is because the generation has also changed right? But of course, in terms of land, also the quantum is higher as well last time as well. So that's why a lot of people are looking at condo, which majority of the people are looking at condo. That's why condo has more facility, rentability, rental yield is higher. That's why the price movement for a condo is always faster. This is how it works. But only recently, if you look at all these years, landed has been moving very fast as well. It's just whether people want the kind of lifestyle of staying in the landed. So this is exactly what I'm trying to ask every one of you here. Can you imagine this guy who actually at 40 years old until age 65? This is what I'm trying to tell you. Is it enough, right? Think about it. So if you are holding on to a HDB flat, you have to ask yourself this question. How much do you think your HDB will worth when you reach 65? Only you will know the answer. Nobody can lie to you, one. If your HDB can go to $1 million, then what will be the private property be? What will be then the prices be for other property? So you have to think. And if that is the case, is $1 million, can you imagine that your age is 40 $1 million, is it enough for you to retire? $1 million, if you were to sell away to buy a 588,000 plus renovation inside, right? You only left with a couple of $100,000. Will it be enough for you? All these things you need to ask. Why I want you to think a little bit more, because I've gone through this position and I understand why is it so important to look at this so-called your net worth. Your net worth when you retired. A lot of time everybody says, Kelvin, I want to make profit, I want to make profit. Sometimes to me it's not about profit. Profit to me is always a bonus, because why? Nobody can tell you how much you can make. But most important is to ask yourself your current asset when you reach 65. Even today, I want to tell everybody, today if you own, you are age 40, if you own a $2 million asset, by the time you reach 65 years old, you probably have fully paid the property. If the property doesn't appreciate, you still at least own a $2 million fully paid up property. Isn't it what you want? You have to think. This is something that you need to ask yourself this question. Based on your asset, by the time you reach 65, is it enough? That's why the question is, should you sell a HDB flat? Let me show you some numbers. So if you look at it, right, HDB in fact has gone up quite a fair bit. But do you realize that from the peak of 2013 at 486,000, right, today has actually increased to 563,000. But if you look at the increment for the last 10 years, actually it has increased a lot. But if you look at it, right, for 76,000, this is average. Some of you probably have 100 over thousand, some of you have probably 200,000. Different people at different price point will have different kind of profit margin. But what this average of a forum says, today you are at the peak. And if you look at what the government is actually planning is to do here, is because they are increasing the supply of the HDB flat. Why are they increasing the supply of the HDB flat? Because they cannot allow the HDB flat to continue to go so much higher, which I totally agree. Because why? Because we don't want the HDB to go up too high, which it become unaffordable for many people, which we don't want it to happen in that manner. We want property prices eventually to gradually grow up, but not at the kind of pace, which is very unhealthy. And I totally think that what the government is trying to do is valid. But as a property owner yourself, then you have to think a little bit more. Currently, now the prices has gone up by so much. Do you want to take advantage of this current situation and do something for yourself or not? Based on your net worth. You make decision based on your net worth at the age of retired 65 years old. Is it enough? You make a thinking process yourself. You really seriously must think. So if you look at it, in this point of time, right, if you were, this is 2013, if those HDB owners who choose to sell their property, right, and went in to buy this Riverside condo at 2012, right, today they at least make $100,000. But they take how many years? Probably 4 years, 2012, 2018, 6 years, some of them shorter, some of them longer. Which is better? At least you within a short period of time. Can you imagine 2018, you sell the property away, right? He sell away, he went to buy another property, what happened? And probably he'll make a gain, as compared to holding on to HDB. As for a 5-room HDB flat, you look at it, from 573,000 today also has increased a lot to 669,000. But after so many years, 96,000 in 10 years, is it worthwhile? So you have to see what is the best situation for you guys here. So if this guy who chose to sell in 2013, he went to buy this development Bartley Ridge, not bad, he made close to 300,000. So what am I trying to explain to you here is about what should you be looking at your current assets. Since your HDB has gone up by so much, is there something that you should be working on? Is it something that you should be looking into? And that's for you to think a little bit more. What is your next call to action? Of course, you can speak to any of my PropNext agents to understand more what is the best plan for you. I believe they will be probably able to advise you in greater details. So the question is, should I actually take this profit and sell, or I should keep? So as I mentioned to you here just now, right? Let's say, for example, today you own a private property. These people who buy property here, right? In 2008, today in 2013, he can actually choose to sell at 1,295 per square foot. But a lot of time people don't want to sell because why? Kelvin, I buy so cheap, I shouldn't be selling. I should hold on to it because last time I only buy $600 per square foot. So why do I want to sell? If I sell really, when can I buy back $600 per square foot? Now EC also cannot buy 600 already. EC already going to be how much? 1,004 per square foot. So I better keep. But what happened? You see? From 2013 until today, the price has only increased by how much? So I want you to know one thing. Some people hold on to the property because they want to have passive income. But let's say, for example, here is 800,000 you buy. Today is worth 1.3 million. And until today, it's still worth 1.3 million. From the year 2008 until here, how many years already? 2023 minus 2008. Wow, how many years? Wow. Almost easily 20 years. For 20 years, the property is still at 1.3 million. Can you imagine your age is 65 now? Can you imagine this person, the age is 65? 1.3 million, what can they do today? Actually, nothing much, to be honest. 1.3 million is not enough, because you buy a HDB just now 600,000, you're only left with 50% plus renovation here and there. Are you easily able to retire from 65 until 80 years old or 85? These are some of the thoughts that you probably need to think a little bit more before you decide what is the best thing that you should be looking into. I know some of you asked certain questions here. Unfortunately, I cannot be answering every question because if not, then the whole thing will be dragged. If you are really want to find out some answer, you can speak to my agents who invited you. I think they will give you a better, clearer picture. So if let's say, for example, these people who sell in 2013, right? What happened? They re-entered to Commonwealth Tower, another development. Today, they make again another profit. So today, if 2018, he were to exit again, can he actually look for another property to buy? This is how I want to share with you here, right? How myself and many rich people out there today, they have grown their wealth, not because they work very hard. It's because they really use assets, right, to help them to grow. If you ask yourself this question, the last 5 years, the property prices move faster than your income movement. So if you want to use your income for what purpose? Is to take your loans to help you to leverage, but cannot speculate. Everything must do due diligence, must work out your finances, cannot overstress as well. That's the last thing. But what I just want you to know one thing here is that while you are young, you still can use your income to help you to borrow money while you are still able to work. Then you have to think, That's why I say it's very important for people to learn so they can be better off when they retire. My only objective when I do all this session here, right? I only want to see many of you guys here can retire happily when you reach 65, because I clearly know what is my end goal in life. You should be clearly known yourself what's your end goal in life as well, because you want to have a stable life. You want to have a comfort life. That's why you must learn how to work hard, make use of your asset, make use of your income to help you to grow and to be better off without speculating. Huh? So if you look at Commonwealth Tower, you see how much profit they make, 300,000, 100 over 70,000. Actually, to be honest, even 170,000, a lot of people say, if the truth here is that the size is only 484 square feet, to make 170,000, actually very good already. What can you ask for, right? For 6, 7, this property, that time they bought probably $700,000 range, right? For $700,000, you make 170,000. Isn't it very good enough? Very good already, my friend, right? But did he work hard for it or not? Actually, no, he just leveraged on the bank. The bank actually borrowed the money. He just sit there and wait for money to give it to them. Wow, you got to work hard. You ask yourself, if you really work hard from 2014 until this period, maybe don't know whether how much money you save. I do not know, but you think a little bit more. So whether is it enough? So same thing for this. For this 560 square feet unit, a lot of people say, Kelvin, you know why I bought this 560 square feet at City Light, in 2007. And in 2003, 2013, you can actually sell for 924K. Will you sell or not? The profit is 424. And rental, I got $500. Can I ask every one of you this question? How many of you will sell one? Say yes. How many of you say no one? Can you type inside chat group or not? Yes or no? How many of you want to sell one? Yes or no? Y or N? Or some of you say yes, some of you yes. Wow, sell. Why nobody say no? Very strange. Not sure, is it because my agent say yes, right? So, any at least say no right? Good Because why? Because a lot of people are attracted by this $500 passive income. So a lot of people can say, right, don't want to sell, which is nothing wrong. Because can you imagine you own a unit? You see, wow, the view is so nice. So a lot of emotion, right? But what happened, right? Can you imagine again, if you are at the age of 60 years old range now, right? Your house is now worth 900 over 1,000. Is it good enough? Then for you to see. So a lot of people say, hey, which is better, net worth better or passive income? To me, I'm not so interested in this one. To me. Because why? No money, no talk. I need capital. I need money. Passive income, you take $500 out from this so-called tenant, $500 every month. I'm not so sure how many of you will save $500. Because why? This is like pocket money. $500 go in, eventually go to the bank account. You don't know where does this pocket goes to, Eventually, will you spend the $500 away? Most likely, most people will send the $500 away. So when you spend the $500 away, what will happen? You probably never save much money as well. I do not know. For me, I always feel that this kind of small money, right, you probably cannot save. But if you take back 400,000, you straight away know that you have 400,000. That is a very big sum of money. So you have to think which is a better option for you, right? To me, most important, right, is to build what? Capital. In Singapore context, capital is number one. Well, why do I say so? If you look at Robert Kiyosaki, you look at so many people talking about rental yield, right? To me, not that it's not important. To me, most important is rental yield is my last stage of my so-called, I have more capital, I can own more property. But if you only have one set of capital, you just stay there for rental income. Can you build your capital or not? Just like this guy who owned a $900,000 property. Can you reach 65 years old, you have $900,000 property today? Is it good enough or not? So to me, it's this way, right? But the most important you need to understand here is that this is Cedar Light. He bought the property here until today. This is how the price works. This is called stagnant. Sometimes you may need to find out, is your property stagnant? Ask any of my agents. He probably can advise you whether is your property stagnant or not. If it's not, then of course good. If it's stagnant, then what should you do? Right? Think a little bit about it, right? So if let's say, for example, these people who sell, right, bought in 2013, you see, if they sell in 2013, 2013, they sell, they went to buy J Gateway. Today they make good profit. instead of flat, they make profit. Can you imagine now, every one of you, can you imagine now, hey, you take out 400,000 property, 400,000 profit you take out, plus your capital is about 600,000 already. 600,000 for the city light, just now the example, 400,000 profit plus initial capital maybe 200,000, 600,000, plus you buy this J Gateway now, right? You sold it for 470,000, right? Now your capital came back to here, right? Plus your profit, now you will have $1 billion in your bank account, you know. That is what I'm trying to tell everybody. You need to learn how to build what? Build what? Let me tell you, everybody, build what? Capital. Can you tell everybody, type capital, type build capital inside the chat group or not? Tell everybody, hey, build capital, not passive income. Passive income is for old folks, right? I will have rental you, but when I have make enough capital, I can spread my money out, then yes. But at the meantime, to me, most important now is it's not so much about rental yield. It's so much more about what? Capital. Only with capital, then we can do more things. That's something that you need to understand, my friend. So this is for you to take note. Thank you so much, everybody, for helping me to type. It's not because I want you to type. It's because why we want everybody to remember this. Build capital. Sometimes we really tend to forget. So like, for example, this case, right? Holding on to the private, at least you see yourself like this, right? 1.33 million today, at least you saw the numbers went up, right? This is something that we talk about here. That's the reason why you need to think a little bit more is about how do you build your capital moving forward, right? To me, very simple. All the money inside the house now that you hold on to this house, if you never sell, it's not cash. It's all called numbers only. It's all numbers. Numbers does not mean anything. Unless you have capital, then you take out this capital, it becomes dollar and cent. When you take dollar and cent out, you can actually reinvest and use the money for many things. Then that's how you can actually grow. I mean, this is general, not I can tell you. It's because I've seen a lot in my last 20 years, how the rich become richer, how do they build their capital. And I myself have actually gone through this journey. That's the reason why I feel that it is possible. Just like this guy, this is something that I read in the newspaper. And this couple, it's really very true. You see, my friend, buy property, rental increase, staff cost increase. Am I right? Those people are working, staff cost increase. Your business, SME owners, my friend, those who are listening to me, SME owners, listening, your staff cost increase, your rental increase. But you see, his price of the books keep coming down. How are you going to make money like that, right? I foresee this problem. The best thing to do now is to make a little bit of money, go into what? Property. This is not me. This is this couple. And today he actually owned a couple of units when he retired. So this is exactly what we have been doing. And that's exactly how I truly believe in it. And many people are doing this. And if you see yourself, do you want to see yourself grow and move forward? That is the key. Just a little bit about myself before I continue. I'm the business for the last 20 years. We have actually about 12,000 agents now. So of course, for me, I'm also an investor myself. I also, for me, I do a lot of seminars and trainings. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about the real estate market. And of course, I'm the ED of the company as well. So I really want to share with you guys how I actually grow my assets. In fact, I also stay in the HDB flat like many people out there. At that point of time, luckily, this HDB helps me to transform my life, because when I bought this HDB, I started to realize that I can be a property agent. And that's how, where am I talking to you now, right? Because of this. And because I've actually in this business for the last 20 years, I learned a lot from all the gurus out there who make profit, right? I actually uses a lot of my capital to actually buy and sell. And that's where I start to grow my money. That's how I roll my money up. Then I can actually own multiple properties together in today's market. And these are some of my property today. These are the properties that I own, not because I want to howl in to all of you here, no, right? I just want you to know one thing, that how it can be done in this way, not just by luck. There must be a strategy to do so. That's why when I do seminars, I was also being interviewed by who? By the newspaper as well, because they have attended my workshop. They have attended and they understand what do I do, how do I use some of the strategies that I can actually build the capital. And that is why I always feel that, right? That's why I wrote a book based on the property wealth system, right? Because I always truly believe that how each and every one of you can also do what I'm doing. If you ask me 20 years ago, I cannot do all these things because I'm just only a HDB bar owners out there who doesn't have money. But today, fast forward in the last 20 years, I managed to do this. But I'm not saying that some of you will be saying, Kevin, you are so lucky you can be there. Of course, not everyone is supposed to reach that kind of milestone, but doesn't matter. Everybody must start somewhere. Everybody must look forward to do certain things. It's not about yes or no. Like me, 20 years ago, would I know? I don't know at all, right? But because what I've gone through, it allows me to do this. And that's the reason why I want to take my approach here today here, right? To really share with you guys here how you should be moving forward, how you should be doing, so that you can also one day achieve, not necessarily at my level, you can be at your level, even at $5 million, $8 million, $10 million. It's also very fantastic, right? It is also good. So you must learn how to do it as well, right? So it depends on what is your end goal. So to me, I always believe in one thing. There's three strategies that I look at: right timing, right financing, and right strategy. How do I actually systematically build this? And I'm going to touch on all those things here. Like I mentioned to you just now, right? Timing. Well, I explained to you about interest rate. This is something that you need to know. When every time interest rate high the time, people will not buy. But that is also a time where people are more developer, owners, will be more careful. But today is slightly different. Today, a lot of resale owner today, if you ask them to sell cheap, they won't sell one. Why? Because they feel that if I sell cheap, then am I going to buy cheap? No leh. So they end up got to pay more. So the only way to do so is to sell high because they only have one unit to sell. But as a developer, sometimes they have no choice. They have 500 units, they have to sell. So who has an upper hand? You need to think. Financing, of course, this one I leave it to my agent to share with you more. What are the strategies? Let's look further. Now, something that I just want to touch on today, with the increase in the government land sales, does it mean that a developer will bid lower? If let's say really they bid lower, will they eventually sell at a lower price? How many of you think that the developer bid lower, they will sell lower price one? Say yes or no inside the chat group. They will bid lower one. They will sell yes, right? Oh, no, they will not sell. Oh, no. How many? Some of you say yes, some of you will say no, right? Well, nobody knows the fantastic answer, but I can share with you, right? As a developer, it's just like buyer. Actually, when market is actually not stable, right? There is always a possibility. There is always an opportunity, not possibility, opportunity for developer to buy at a lower price. Why do I say so? Let's see further. If you look at the recent yesterday announcement, in fact, second half of 2023, they are going to launch all these so-called properties out in the market. But if you look at all these property that they are launching, all these are considered very, very interesting location. I would say quite a good location as well. And what is their objective of setting this location to be there for this GLS? Of course, that's my opinion. I don't represent anybody here, right? My opinion is very simple. Because you see, every time a launch came, it was like 50%, 60% sold, 90% sold. So in order to create this demand, they have to increase the supply so that you all will think a little bit more before you take action. But you look at all this plot of land here. Do you think that developers are excited to buy this plot of land? I would say like Clementi Avenue 1, Zion Road, Orchard Boulevard, all these are very interesting assets. Will they actually not keen to actually buy this property? They will. And if you look further, look at Jadescape. This development, this was in 2016. 2016 market was not very stable yet. 2016 market not stable. And you look at Margaret View, just only December 2016, just only, you see how many months? 6 months. From $791 per square foot, the next plot of land, they bought it at $998 per square foot. So all of us will think, wow, Jadescape buy land cheaper, they will sell you cheaper. Am I right to say that? Most of you will think this way. But did they really sell you cheap? And I just want you to see one thing. From here all the way to here, you look at the land price. Did it actually come down? Yeah, there'll be up, down, and here, right? Based on location, based on M block here and there. But if you look at the numbers from 791 all the way to today, right? 1668, did it really comes down? No. But the most interesting, you must find out one thing from here is what? Look at this. Jadescape, right? Their break even is 1076. That means they probably sell another 10% more. They 1003, they probably can make profit already. If they were to, for market view, right, their break even is 1551. So which means that they must sell at least 1007, 1008 per square foot in order to make profit. If not, their break even is this. But this Jadescape sell at 1003 per square foot. Look at this. This is Jadescape. They sold at 1007 during launch. You look at this Margaret Drive. They launched about the same time range, ma. So did they sell cheap? No leh. So does it means that, right? Of course, there are many different examples here. I cannot be going through everything. But what am I trying to tell you here? Developer is the same as all of us here. Opportunity come, they can buy cheap. But that doesn't mean that when the market is good, they will sell you cheap. Especially, just remember, 2 years down the road, when interest rate fall, what will be the market? Will it be going up or down? I wouldn't know. You think. If we look at the history, just like I mentioned to you, every time when the interest rate down, there is always a demand. When the demand comes in, it will create an upside in terms of assets. So a lot of people think I should be waiting. Maybe I can get something better for the upcoming land bids. Not that you are wrong in a sense, but maybe you may not be paying the price that you want as well, because I cannot guarantee you, right? Because nobody will know. Just like you see, people who bought, look at Jadescape owner developer, they are the one that will be actually benefited. Because why? They choose to take risks when market is unstable. Developer and buyers is the same mindset. Those who dare to take risks, they dare to buy. That's why when the market start to pick up, you also realize that developer eventually also like to do what? No. If you, those people who are in the market for long, right, you will start to realize one thing. When the market is good, developer will always what? Rush in to buy one. Same thing one. But when the market is too good, also developer will also be more careful, you know. But when developer who are more gung-ho, right, what will happen? They will buy at a lower price, then they make good profit. This is how it works here, right? So sometimes if you expect that the price may come down because the developer would bid the lower bid, right? I would say, no, this is not the answer for you to see. So why is it so? Because very simple, my friend. Why is the developer not willing to sell at a lower price since they bought the land cheap? Because every developer wants to make money. And also very subjected to when they launch a property. So they can launch when the market is good at time, right? Especially those who buy now. When those people who buy the land now, right? They, in the next 1.5 years or so, when they launch their price, if the market is good, they probably will make a very good profit. But like now, right, the developer will definitely be more careful in terms of their land purchase, which is something, this is what they will do. But 2 years down the road, they may not sell cheap if they buy cheap. Remember, because it's all market sentiment. And if you look at the land bids, from the year 2016 until today, the land bid has been going up this way. So eventually, you see, eventually those developers who paid more eventually still can sell more. This is how it works, right? For those people in the real estate, right, you will know some of the developers, sometimes we say, wow, you crazy, or you buy so expensive. But you very strange, 2 years down the road, they can sell at a higher price or more. Why is it so? Because of demand, supply. This is also one of the key things here. Next, I also like to touch on this very interesting topic here, because why? How many of you really felt that today the OCR new launch prices are high now? Can I ask everybody, how many of you think that the new launch in OCR is high now? Can you type in yes or no? Thank you so much, everybody, for helping me to type up. Yes, exactly, right? A lot of people, I'm very sure many of you will have this kind of mindset thinking. You are not wrong in terms of this kind of thinking, which I'm going to explain to you how it works. Every time when real estate move to one cycle, right, you all will have this problem again. So I want to tell you here, because something that you do not know is very unsafe. And I'm going to tell you because I do a lot of research. I do a lot of numbers. I'm in the business for the last 20 years. I buy, sell property. I know inside out of the numbers, right? I really want to share with you, right, exactly how you know. You see, let's focus here, everyone. Let's focus here, my circle here. If you were to look at that point of time, 2018, the OCR new launch price was 1381. Look at Core Central Region 2007. There is a gap of $1,003 per square foot. You will feel that, wow, the gap is big. And honest truth here is that many of you here can never accept that, wow, OCR can be $2,000 per square foot, including myself last time, I used to think, wow, OCR $2,000, how to accept? But the matter of fact that why eventually become $2,000? Because very simple, it's because of land bids. But today, a lot of people cannot accept because why? Because today, if you look at here, fast forward, from here all the way to here, you start to see, wow, OCR reached $2,000. But the gap between RCR and CCR and here is so all at $2,000 per square foot range. So when you start to see that the gap is all within 2,000, naturally, right, all of you will feel one thing. Wow, the price seems to be on the high side for OCR. But remember one thing, my friend, all of you remember one thing. At 2018, right, if you all remember, a lot of property at that point of time was going at 1,004 per square foot, where the resale market at that point of time, right, resale market was going at $900 per square foot. Those you can recall, resale. People say, Kelvin, you cannot buy. Just like those people who look at seaside residences, 1,004 plus per square foot in 2016. At that point of time, the resale market is going at how much? $800, $900 per square foot. But today, seaside residences, after TOP, they sold at $2,000 over per square foot. You look at Whistler Grand, those who bought at 1,000, 2,003 per square foot in West Coast. Today, they managed to sell at 1,007, 1,008 per square foot. There are so many situations that's happening. But why is it so? Because very simple. Because at this point of time, people can accept. But over here, things will change. But what is important that all of you must listen carefully. Later on, I will explain to you further. What is more important is you do not know what is going to happen when the future comes in. The future comes in. You look at today, why a lot of core central regions, CCR, not able to en bloc in today's market. A lot of en bloc in CCR cannot en bloc successfully because the current supply in the market, right, in CCR, right, unsold supply, right, can easily last for 3 and a year to sell. What do I mean by that? Because every year, right, in the last 2010 to 2021, on average a year, we always do tabulation, right? Average is about 1,005 units will sell in CCR every year. That means with the unsold supply of 4,008 units, it will take probably 3 years to sell. So if you are the developer, if you know that eventually, right, you still have so many stock to sell, will you want to rush in to buy? You may not want to. Especially, I'm not so sure how many of you knows. For those en bloc that is not successful in CCR today, you know how much will be their break even when they want to sell? How much is their break even if the en bloc is successful? On average, right, I can show you the numbers. It's about 3,500 per square foot. So that's the reason why a lot of CCR will not be able to en bloc. But eventually, 2 years down the road, will all these CCR property eventually be sold? Why? Because if you look at today, a lot of RCR properties are already selling at 2,600, 2,700, 2,800 per square foot. And they are very close to what price? A CCR price. So eventually, when the RCR prices start to move upwards, then the CCR become a very attractive price for people to buy. And that is where the market start to move again for CCR. So that is how it actually moves. So if you look at OCR, on average, for the last 2010 until 21, right, it takes about 6,003 units, so average a year, average for the last from 2010 to 21, average 1 year is 6,000. So based on this 4,006, right, we actually calculate on average, you will probably take less than a year, you already sold most of the OCR unsold supply in the market. Why? Because currently the supply of unsold is high here. That's the reason why you can see that so many demand for OCR in the market is because of not enough supply. As compared to 2019, you look at the number of supply, it's 36,000. That's why at that point of time, the prices is what? Those who buy property in 2019, today, all of you make money, right? I believe so. But as it comes downward, supply become lesser. Property prices up and down is all about supply demand. When there is not enough supply, there is a strong demand, prices will move in this way. So that's how it works here. So this is called the average CCR prices. These are all the en bloc not successful. Their break even easily 3,500. 2 years down the road, eventually they will sell. Eventually will sell. Can you imagine? I want to ask every one of you here. If today you are the en bloc owner in CCR, if you did not manage to en bloc, 2 years down the road, will you want to increase your en bloc selling price or will you reduce your en bloc selling price? Can I ask everyone? Will you increase or reduce? Yes, is increase means yes. No means reduce. How many of you will say yes one if you are the developer? Why? Most of you will say yes, right? Yeah, anybody say no? Right? Everybody want more one. I tell you, all the en bloc owners will be very simple because I'm also holding one property that's currently going through en bloc, right? Everyone is greedy one. Everybody want to sell high one. Nobody want to sell low one. When the market goes higher, this price will be at 3,500. This is called the current break even. I'm not talking about 2 more years later. 2 more years later, some of you say will be higher. I don't want to say there. No, I just want to tell you guys will be at 3,500. Can you imagine based on $3,500 per square foot? And now OCR at this kind of price tag, the gap is 1,500. Now that you realize that, right, the differences is almost how much? 1,500. So if based on 1,500 per square foot, now the gap has widened already. So is it, now can you accept? Same thing, right? Just now I mentioned to you, right? 2000 and what? In the year of 2013, just now I mentioned to you, right? That time, the OCR prices was at 1,003 per square foot. And CCR is at 2,700. That's why the gap is this way. That's why you don't feel much. But if you now want OCR prices to go at 1,500 to sell, right? Is it possible? Not possible anymore. Because why? Today the EC is already going at how much price? The EC is 1,400 now. How can a private at 1,400 per square foot again? It won't happen. That's why moving forward, this will be the norm. And by the time when the CCR reached 3,500, then you will start to say, actually OCR is quite cheap now. This is always a psychology issue. Every year, every cycle, there is always a move off period. And that's something that you must take note of. That's the reason why if you think that OCR prices today is high, I would say yes and no to you. Because why? Because you may not know what is going to happen down the road 2 years. Because what I can tell you is what is going to happen. But I cannot tell you yes or no because I can only base on what I can see. Because the en bloc eventually will go through. Even look at the government land sales for the CCR currently in 99 years. For those people, you really want to go in deep and further and see. Some of the core central region property in the 99 years leasehold has already surpassed more than 3,000. I'm just putting a very conservative number of 3,500. That's why I say, based on OCR at $2,000 per square foot in today's market, is not on a high side. This is a cyclical issue. Every real estate, there's always a cycle. Every time, now you can only think, no, how I wish I bought the property 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I only paid 1,400. 4 or 5 years ago, previous in 2018 or 2017, you say, how I wish I bought 5 years ago, I only buy $1,000 per square foot. It's always like that one. Every time, every cycle, there will be always a new set of price tag. So please accept this new price tag, my friend. Look at it. So that's the reason why I want to share with you here, right? I think beside this, I want you to understand that OCR, this is the kind of price tag that you look at. Now, I want to focus on sharing with you in detail, right? How do you actually look at a property that is safe to enter? Based on 3 very important aspects that I would like to share with you. If you can understand this, right, you can actually apply it in any of the property that you want to buy, right? I'm only showing you 3 things. First, I want to let you know, how do we determine the safe entry price? Number 1, how do we determine? I'm going to use this case study called the Miss. This is one of the OCR development, right? Miss, yeah? And their starting price is 1,008 plus per square foot. So the question is it a very safe bet? So, of course, nobody knows the answer unless I show you the numbers, right? So I'm going to show you how I look at it, this property. In fact, it's already very rare for many of the mass market property for a new launcher to be starting at 1,008 plus per square foot. Why would they want to sell at 1,008? Let's see further. If you look at today, the resale in the OCR property, resale today already done at $2,000 over per square foot. This is TOP in 2021. The Panorama TOP in 2017, look at the price, has done $1,008, $2,000 has been done. Even for resale, it's done at this price. If you look at Clementi Canopy 2019, how much is the price? Also had done 2,000, 1,008. If you look at Grandeur Park, TOP 2020, what is the price? 1,008, 2,000, 1,009 as well. So if you look at this, even for a resale property today, is actually going at 1,008, 1,009, 2,000 already in the mass market. So this developer is selling at 1,008 range per square foot from 1,008 onwards. Are they pricing their property so low? Are they pricing their property at a high side? But why are they priced at 1,008 when the resale property already selling at this price? Ask yourself this question. Again, the logic is very simple. Everybody can hear me? Okay, good. All right, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so if you can see from here, right? Why is it that developers are willing to sell at 1,008 range per square foot onwards? Very simple, because developer got
Right, ladies and gentlemen, please pardon us for this technical glitch while Kelvin restore his connection. Sorry, Kelvin.
all right, sorry. Me?
All right, thank you. We can hear you, Kelvin. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that, because I think not sure is it because of the system or not. Okay, sorry about that. All right, come, let's continue here. Sorry, I off my lights things because I think my laptop is actually very weak already in terms of bat. I'm not so sure what happened also. Right, but just continue here. Right, for the developer today, they have more units, so that's the reason why they have no choice. No choice. Yeah, laptop battery is really low now. That's the reason. Maybe there's a problem here. So if you look at this current situation here, right? The developer has more choice, more unit. That's why they are able to sell at a lower price because of the market situation. So this is something that you probably would like to take note of. And if you look at the sub-sale market, Park Clementi's, it also has reached $2,000 per square foot, 1,009 as well. If you look at Sengkang Grand Residences, wow, you can see that it's also $2,000 per square foot. So if you look at this, a resale market, even for sub-sale market, is also going at $1,009, $2,000 for resale property. For a new launch developer who are willing to sell what the resale market is going, which is not the norm, it's only because of the current market situation that's happening now, and that's the reason why it become this way. That's why every time when the market is down, there is always an opportunity for people. That's why those people who choose to take action in 2019, where a lot of developers did not manage to do well when they start off, but those people who choose to buy during the early stage, Today, they are all making very good profit as well. So this is something for you to know. And if you look at Florence Residences today, that time I was just telling you guys here, right? They bought 1,004 plus per square foot. Today, they sell 1,008 per square foot. Today, they are all making profit in this aspect. That's why you can see, even for the new launch market, a lot of people already has done $2,000 and above. Some have done 2004, 2003, 2001. All these are already been done. But why developer know that they have done these kind of prices still want to sell at these kind of prices, at 1,008 onwards? Mainly because of the current market situation. That's why it gives you an opportunity. That's why you can see from Amor, these are all the latest transaction is all above $2,000 per square foot. Even Daily Farm, this is so-called new sales and sub-sale. It is already done at this kind of prices. So it's something that is acceptable in today's market. Look at Botany, same thing, also has done 1,009, 2,000. People already accepted at this kind of price tag. So that's why for a start, this developer will also do something this way. So if you can be the first mover to actually own such kind of properties, right? You probably have a good opportunity in a sense for you to look at. And that is what I'm trying to show you here. Now today, look at this. Today, average price for OCR is 2,000. Actually, developer knows all this, but they are selling below what the average is. That's why it's all because of current market. That's why it gives you an opportunity for you to look at in terms of the price tag. Second, most important is supply demand. Why is it so important for you to take note of this? About supply demand. First, if you look at just now I mentioned to you, right? So is OCR oversupply? Because why I mentioned to you, right? Why OCR prices can go up so fast in terms of price tag? I will tell you in a short while. Because the supply of OCR is less. If you look at, these are the three things that is happened, three so-called from second half of 2022 until the second half of 2023, right? The total number of units of OCR is 5,510 units available for sale if these are all bidded successfully. So when all these bidded are successfully, right, I add on to this number, right, you will have 10,000 units available for sale. So my question to every one of you here, for 10,000 units in the OCR, in the mass market, is it enough to cater? No? Based on 10,000 units unsold, right? Based on average 6,003 units, you probably take 1.5 years to sell. If you look at the overall mass market in Singapore, you know that mass market is the biggest number of household owner, right? Do you know that why all the resale property, even the mass market property, why the prices has gone up so much? Because the last few years, there is lack of supply in the OCR. That's the reason why prices are moving. That's why you can see that so many launches out there in the mass market is 90%, so 80%, so 70%, so 60%. So why? Because there is a lack of supply in the market. When there's a lack of supply, there is always a demand for it. As a result, market will also accept the price. So with the new supply coming in, will it also be absorbed? And if you look at it, the mass market, there is upcoming launches or upcoming supply, right? There is not many. There's only that few at different locations. Because Singapore is so big, right? It's also not smaller, right? There's always different pocket in Singapore. There is always homeowners, upgraders up there to cater to all this supply and demand. So if you ask me, will this supply of the mass market be absorbed? I will tell you yes. And I tell you, just like I mentioned to you, right? From 2013 until today, from $1,100 over until today, for the last 10 years, how has the price moved? Why is it the last 5 years, the price moved by 600? The first 5 years was 200 over. Why? Per square foot differences. Because over here, there is a lack of supply. When there's a lack of supply, there's a demand, prices will move faster. That's why the last couple of years, because of COVID, because of replacement, because of the development that is slower, that's why the last few years, the price has gone up faster compared to the first 5 years. So that is something that you need to take note of. So every time supply and demand is something that you need to take note of when it comes to buying a property. So if you look at the TOP supply for this year, of course, this year we have the most number of supply, which is about 19,000. First quarter, about 5,000 units has TOP. But if you look at the subsequent number of years, actually the TOP supply has started to weaken already, has started to be normalized already. Because why? Main bulk is actually here. During the COVID period, this got nothing TOP. So that's why the prices has gone up so much. But moving forward, it will be stabilized in that sense, right? So with the 10,000 unit coming on board, we have a lot more supply. That's for you to see. That's why it's important to take note of this. So if you look at safe exit for this development, for example, this development, a safe exit, is it something safe? Well, if you look at the miss, the good news here is what, this development is very near to this Daily Farm area, just across the street, not far away. There's total 7 plot of land that is unlaunched yet. And there's a future mixed development that's upcoming is also unlaunched yet. Why is it so important for every one of you to know this? Because this has been proven in the past history by different development. Let's see further. If you look at West Coast, these 3 plot of land, Whistler Grange, Twinview, Riviera, this Riviera in 2015, right, the land bid was at 551. In fact, these 3 plots are just within the circumference. Subsequently, 592, subsequently, the last one at $800 per square foot. But eventually, right, did these people make money? The first mover who go in and buy without knowing what is happening, upcoming launches, subsequently with the launches coming out, did they actually make profit? In fact, look at Park Riviera. Today, they actually make profit out of it because why? They are the first mover out there. If you look at Daily Farm, same thing. In 2009, it's 280 per plot ratio. If you look at 2010, 345. You look at 2011, 426. So this development, Tree House, the first one to enter, did they make profit? Same thing, they are making very good profit. Look at this, 700,000 and really quite a good profit in this area, considered chestnut area, right? But why is it so? Because why? The upcoming launches, the upcoming supply push up the price. You are the first mover. You have the advantage of it at a lower price. And that's something good in the sense, because why? Based on the government land sales, the current 7 plot plus the mixed development haven't even announced yet. By the time the market move forward, most likely the prices will be higher, because based on the past example, we can only detect this is the way to do so. So if you are the first mover to buy something in this area, is it an advantage to you? That's why if you look at this, for new launch, for starting at 1,008 per square foot, is it something that is attractive for the miss? Look at resale, already done this price, which I show you to you just now. New launch has already on average done 2,000, and some of them has already cost 2,004. Based on 1,008 per square foot, and the resale market same price, is it something safe for you to enter? And that is for you to really think whether is it something worthwhile for you to look at. So if you want to buy any property and do any comparison, you can ask any of the PropNex agent to show you how to look at the right entry price. How do you look at the exit? They will be able to share with you in detail based on the relevant projects that you are keen to look at. So just for today, I just want to use the case study of the miss to share with you. So for those people who want to understand a little bit more, in fact, my colleague here will be able to share with you in greater detail, which is, right, Annie will be sharing with you. Just a quick summary. Is it a safe bet? First, there's a low supply in the OCR, which creates a high demand. And it's 5 minutes to MRT station, right? Of course, 1 kilometer to Bukit Panjang, one of the very good school as well. So this is something for you to take note of. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to me. So for those people, if you want to understand more, now I shall hand over for you to really share with them in greater detail about this development. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you everyone for listening to me, for staying with me for so long. All right, Annie, I pass it.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Kelvin.